Hello guys, today we are starting our geometry unit, and I'm really looking forward to this unit because it is very easy. It's not that hard like linear equations and slope and everything that we've learned so far. So geometry is going to be painless. Okay, so first up is pairs of angles. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, now with geometry, we have a lot of vocabulary words that we have to learn. And our first one is adjacent angles. Alright, and here is the definition. It is a pair of angles with a shared vertex and common side, but do not have overlapping interiors. Basically, this is what adjacent angles look like. Basically, the word adjacent means next to. So all you have to remember, adjacent angles are next to one another, just like we can see right here. You can see they have a shared vertex. This right here is called a vertex, and a common side. And this one right here, the middle ray, will be the common side, and that will be, and those two will be adjacent angles because they are right next to each other. Now a non-example will be something like this one, the red one right here, because it's not adjacent angles because they do not have the same vertex. Alright, now so angle 1 and 2, those two will be adjacent. However, 3 and 4 are not adjacent. Again, they do not have the same vertex. Now another word we have is complementary angles. Definition: it's a pair of angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Basically, two angles that add up to 90 degrees. You can say it like that. Alright, so basically when we add them up, they will equal to 90 degrees. Okay, so here we have angle 1 and angle 2. As we can see, angle AQC is a 90-degree angle. And then we have BQC and AQB. Those two will be complementary angle because once we add them, they will add up to 90 degrees. Alright, and again, they are adjacent because they are right next to each other and they have a common vertex and a common side. Now, these two, they could be add up to 90 degrees, but however, they will not be adjacent. Alright, so angle 2 could be 50 degrees. And angle 1 is 40 degrees. So those guys will add up to, when we do 50 plus 40, we get 90 degrees. So these will be complementary angles. Because they add up to 90 degrees. And same thing as over here. Over here they are non-adjacent, and over here they are adjacent. And then we have the opposite, which is the supplementary angles. Now those are angles that add up to 180 degrees. Complementary 90, supplementary 180. Easy way to remember, knowing the alphabet, C comes first, so that'll be 90. S comes second, so that one will be 180. That's a way to remember so don't get it confused. So complementary comes first with a C, so that's the one that's 90 degrees, and S supplementary comes second, so that's the one that's 180 degrees. Alright, so here an example. Now a 100-degree angle. Now we all know that a right angle, 180-degree angle, is a straight angle. For example, this one right here, it's 100 degrees. All right, usually the protractor, it's a straight angle, and it goes up to 180 degrees. So that's a straight angle. Okay, and if we split this by another ray, and then we have two adjacent angles, and of course they will have to add up to 180 degrees. So this is what we are seeing here, is two adjacent angles, and they have to add up to 180 degrees because they will form a straight angle. So that's another word. This is a straight angle. Alright, so they are also called linear because they will form a line, like you see with the angle. Alright, now they do not always have to be together. Similar to complementary angle, they do not have to be adjacent. They can be split. It's just that when we add them up, if we were to put them together, they will form a straight angle, a 180 degree angle. Alright, so let's say here the measure here is 140 degrees. And this one here is 40 degrees. So when you add them up, they will add up to 180 degrees. So that'll make them supplementary angles. Okay. Alright, now my favorite ones, we have vertical angles, or I call them the kissing angles. It is a pair of angles whose sides form opposite rays. Alright, here is an example. Now you can see why I call them kissing angles. So you have angle 1 and angle 2 right here. There will be vertical angles. Another way to remember is that they form a V. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 2, and angle 3, will be vertical angles. Also, angle 2 and 4 will be vertical angles. Another way to remember them, they form a V for vertical angles. And one thing to remember, vertical angles are congruent. Alright, now the vertical angles are non-adjacent angles formed by intersecting lines. As you can see, they're not next to each other. Angle 4, which is this one, and angle 2, they're not next to each other. They are actually facing each other. Like I said, I call them the kissing angles, and also they form a V, so they will be vertical angles. Another thing to remember is that vertical angles are congruent. Okay, now the word congruent means equal. Alright, so if I say, let's say this one here is 60 degrees, then angle 4 will be 60 degrees. And if this angle here is 120 degrees, then angle 3 will be 120 degrees. Vertical angles are congruent. Okay, that means they are equal to one another. Alright, important things to know in geometry. We have the 360 angle, which form a circle. The 180 angle, so this will be the 360 angle that forms a circle. Now, once you move to trig and higher level math, the angles actually go past 360. And then here you have the 180 angle, which is half of the 360 angle. And that is called a straight angle because you just have a straight line. And of course, so this one will be a circle. This one will be a semicircle, but we call it a straight angle. And then this one right here, of course, we all know that's a right angle. Alright. And of course, the word congruence, congruency, which I already mentioned, means equal. Now, the symbol for congruency is like this. So It looks something like this. Alright, so here let's go ahead and do some example. Here they tell us measure of angle 4. Now this right here, M, and then there's a little the little less than symbol is actually read as measure of angle 4 is 67 degrees. Find the measures of all the other angles. Now measure of angle 4 is right here, 67. That's the first thing you want to do, is to go ahead and write it down. Now angle 4 and angle 2 are vertical angles, so we can say that angle 2 is also 67 degrees. Now angle 4 and angle 3, if you can see, they are adjacent, and adjacent angles are supplementary. So if they are supplementary because they are going to form a straight angle, that means they need to add up to 180 degrees. So in order for me to find measure of angle 3, I have to do measure of angle 4. I have to do 180 minus the measure of angle 4, and measure of angle 4 is 67 degrees, so that means measure of angle 3 will equal to 113 degrees. So angle 3 will be 113 degrees. Again, 4 and 3 are adjacent, and then we have, so if angle 3 is 113 degrees, then angle 1 will also be 113 degrees because they are vertical angles. Alright, so this is the fancy way of doing it, but again, all you have to know is that measure of angle 4 and 2 are vertical angles right here, so they will be equal to one another, and then 3 and 1 will be 113. Okay, next up, go ahead and try this one. Pause, come back and get the answer. Okay, welcome back. Now here, first thing we know is if measure of angle 1 equals 23 degrees and measure of angle 2 equals 32 degrees, find the measures of all the other angles. So angle 1 is 23 degrees. Let's go ahead and mark that. Angle 2 is 32 degrees. And they want us to find the remainder of the angles. Let me go ahead and switch colors. Now what I know here that's equal to one another, angle 1 and angle 4, those will be what type of angles? Alright, so these are vertical angles, so we can go ahead and also label angle 4 will also measure 23 degrees. Okay, now if we look at all of this, let me switch colors. Red. Alright, now if I look at this right here, this, so angle 1, 2, and 3 will be a straight angle, and you know a straight angle is 180 degrees. So 1, 2, and 3 are will form 180 degree angles because they are adjacent. They are adjacent angles. So since so I have measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 3, all that's supposed to add up to 180 degrees. Alright, so angle 1 is 23 degrees plus 32 degrees for angle 2. So now we need to figure out what on the planet is angle 3. Now this is very easy. All we have to do is add and subtract. So here we have 55. Alright, so x will be X will be 125 degrees. Alright, so if angle 3 is 125 degrees, that means angle 6 is also 125 degrees. And switching colors. And the only one here that we are missing now is angle 5. And we can see that angle 2 and angle 5 are, again, vertical angles. So angle 5 will also be 32 degrees. Okay, very easy. It's not that complicated. Alright, so here, this one here, we have to do a little algebra. They want us to solve for x. How are we going to solve for x when we do not know what this equals to? So we already know that this angle and this angle, they are equal to one another. So we can go ahead and just set an equation. So let me call this angle A and this one angle B. Alright, so angle A, measure of angle A is equal to measure of angle B. So all I have to do is to set it up as an equation. Angle A is 3x plus 3, so I'm going to replace this with 3x plus 3 is equal to angle B, which is 108. And then from there, we just solve the equation. And we subtract 3 on both sides. And we have the 3's cancel. We have 3x is equal to 105. Now divide both sides by 3. And x is equal to 35. So this x right here will equal to 35. And of course, we can always check it. Now we can plug it in. 3 times 35 plus 3. Now 3 times 35 is 105 plus 3, we have 108. So yes, that checks out. Alright, so they both will be 108. So in this case, x is 35. It's very simple. It's not that complicated. It's just solving a two-step equation. Alright, now it's your turn. I want you to pause. Okay, welcome back. So let's go ahead and check out the answers. Now let's go ahead and write down the given information. We have angle 1 is 44 degrees. And we have measure of angle 7 is 65 degrees. And they want us to find the rest of the angles. So let's go ahead and start out with the easiest one. So now we need to remember what this little symbol here means. It formed like a square. This means that this is a right angle. And we know right angle is 90 degrees. So if this one is 90 degrees, so that means angle 3 will also be 90 degrees. Now, angle 1 and 4 are vertical angles. So angle 4 will also be 44 degrees. Now the other ones. Now 4, let's take a look at this one. Since we already know this is 90 degrees. So 6 and 7 will be complementary angles. And if they are complementary angles, we need to, all we have to do is do 90. To find angle 6, we do 90 minus 65. And that will give us 25 degrees. Now 4 and 5 are also complementary, so let's switch colors. Alright, so 6 and 7, angle 6 and angle 7 were complementary. That means they will add up to 90 degrees. And so is angle 4 and angle 5. They are also complementary. That means I need a number. When I add to 44, that will give me 90. So all I have to do is 90 minus 44. and we have 46 degrees for angle 5. Now we are left with angle 2. Since angle 5 and angle 2, those guys are vertical angles, they're facing each other. So that was it for today, and hopefully this wasn't too painful. All you have to remember for now are vertical angles. Remember, vertical angles are congruent, that means you're equal to one another, and adjacent angles are sometimes, if it's only 2, they will form a straight angle, so that means they will be supplementary. Okay, well, that's it for today. See you guys. Hopefully you guys can do the homework very easily. Have a good one. Bye bye.